Now inside here we can go in, we can change the title for our post as well as any of the content. Off to the side, on the right side of the screen, you'll notice that we have some options. We can set the format for this post a little different depending on how we want it. And a lot of the formatting options differ depending what theme you're using. The other thing we can do is we can change the status of this. Do we want it published? If I click edit, you'll notice that I can do publish, or maybe it's just a draft and we're going to finish it later. Maybe it's pending review. This is if you have multiple people writing to the same blog. We can also edit the actual date that this post was created and edited on, and we can send it into the future so that it'll appear at a certain time, or we can make it later date so it'll appear that it was posted later. So if I hit edit, this is where I can go in and make those changes. Down at the bottom here are the categories for our post, and right now it's set in the uncategorized category. We don't have any other categories created right now, and we can create categories two ways. We can go up to the post link, and underneath that is the categories panel, which you will be able to create multiple categories at a time. Now, categories won't show up unless there's a post in them. So if you create a lot of categories and you're not seeing them on your home page, that's because you probably don't have a post that is linked to that category. Another way to create a category is back over in the post itself. When you see the little categories panel here, at the bottom of it, it has the option to add a new category. Since we're already in the post edit mode, we'll go ahead and create the category that this post is going to be put into. And that category, if I do edit, add new category, be GIT 221, and this post will be saved in that category. Once I have the post there, I'll just do add category, and I'm going to leave it checked for that one, but the uncategorized category, I'm going to uncheck the post from being linked to that. So it's only in the GIT 221 category right now. Another option you have down here are tags that identify the different keywords related to this post. And for this post, this first post that I'm making, I'm going to go in and do some tags. This post will be about WordPress, and I can say add. Another tag is going to be GIT 221, add. It's about blogging, add. Once you have all your tags, we can focus now on editing the content for our post. So we'll scroll back up. The text editor that is available in the post editing mode is very much like one you'll find on an online email system. It allows you to do some basic text edits like bolding items, italicizing things, bullets, and even some paragraph styles and things like that. It also allows you to do some other really cool stuff like inserting images and video. We'll have other lessons on that, so we're just going to focus on the basic text editing inside of here right now. What we're looking at currently is the visual editor mode, and this allows us to just type things in visually. Now if I were to go over to where it says visual, you'll also see that there's a text mode. And the text mode, if I click on it, shows more than just the text that's on screen. It also has some tags inside of here. These are HTML tags. This allows users who know HTML to add a little bit of HTML coding to each of their posts. Now, if you don't know HTML, you don't have to do any of this. You can completely use the visual editor. And for this lesson, that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to go back to visual, and I'm going to actually take out all this here, and I'm going to just write a few sentences about my new post. This is just a quick example of some content for your post. Another thing to keep in mind is you'll want to change the title of your post, this first post, and you always want to do a title that kind of provides the audience with some information about what this post is all about. So I'm just going to write here, now that I have the content, I've set up the categories and everything, I can hit update. Now technically if this was a brand new post we would do publish, but since it's a post that already exists, we're just going to go in there and do update. One of the things you can do from the post editor is actually view your post, or we can go back to our blog and view it from there. I actually want to see what it looks like from the main page of our blog. So if I go into my website just by clicking on my blog title there, it takes me back to my blog, and you can see that it's got certain tags related to that post, as well as the category in which it is in. Again, if I click on the title, it'll take me to the post page, which it still has that comment that was created generically, and we haven't changed that yet. So to get rid of that, I need to go back to my dashboard, and again over to the side here, one of the options is comments, and most of the time you can set it up so that you can approve comments whether or not they're going to be displayed. For our purposes, I'm just going to actually trash this comment completely and get rid of it. That way comments will be made by actual users and not just this random one here. So I'm going to trash this comment. You can trash comments if you don't like them. You can, again, approve them if you want them to be displayed. You can also mark them as spam in case somebody's just putting some sort of advertisement in your comments. Now that the comments are updated, the next thing we want to update is the About page. So if I go back, and I actually have my blog here opened, I want to go to that generic About page to see what it looks like. So I'll go to the About page, and again, this is just a quick example of the About page. And I can go back to the dashboard and edit this, or I can edit it from here. Let's go back to the dashboard real quick. And to edit pages, very much like editing posts, off to the left side screen you have a page link. If you click on that, you'll see all the pages that are in your blog. Now pages are a little different than posts. Pages always display up on the top of your navigation bar, and they're not tied to any category. So they're always available to users to access at any point in time. Your posts, however, are either chronologically shown, or the user will have to search through categories or search for keywords. They're not going to let them click or be able to click to a specific post at any one time. But pages allow for that, and the first page that is available is your About page. Now in your About page, just like the posts, you have options to do some quick edits, typically just changing the name of the page, and to actually edit the content, which is what we're going to do. and once you go in there, it looks identical to what the post editor looked like. The only difference is that this right side bar, it has a few different panels, one of which it doesn't have the categories panel, so you can't link the pages to a category. Another thing is that depending on what theme you have, you can set this up as a different template, meaning the page may vary in how it looks by changing the template that's used for that page. And again, that is completely dependent on the theme that you have selected. Another option is the order. By default, pages start with your home page, and pretty much they're displayed on your navigation bar in the order that they're made. If you want to rearrange them, you can give them a different order. Now, because the home is always the first, 0 is actually the one right after home, and you can see that the about is 0. But if I wanted the about at the end of several pages, I could give that a higher number. Other things that you can do on the page panel is to add a featured image perhaps for that specific page. But everything else, as far as the title, as far as your content editor, is the same as your post pages, including your publish information here as to when it was updated and things like that. Now, depending on your theme, it may display published information on the page or it may not. So again, here I'm just going to go in here and write a little blurb about myself. And that is all that I'm going to actually write for this page. Again, you can write as much content as you want, so I'm going to go ahead and press update. If I want to see what this all looks like, again, all I have to do is click on the title of my page up on the admin bar. It takes me back to the blog, where I can actually go to the About page now and see the new settings or the new content that I have posted. So in this lesson, we've looked at setting up the general settings for your blog, editing the default post, creating a new category for that post, and editing the default page. And in our next section, we're going to look at adding some images and links to those particular posts or pages or whatever they may be. So stay tuned.